Everything you seek is already yours, but it is not found by striving or begging. It is revealed through the stillness of belief. The universe is not some distant force that must be persuaded or chased. It is an extension of your own consciousness, responding not to your words, but to the feeling you dwell in. When you truly trust the universe, you are not waiting for a miracle, you are becoming it. To trust the universe is to release the desperate effort of the senses and surrender to the unseen. It is to know that every moment, every person, every experience is rising out of the state you occupy. The world mirrors not your wants, but your assumptions. Do not look out there and wait for peace to arrive. Assume peace within and the world must conform. Finding Zen is not about emptying yourself. It is about recognizing that all fullness is already within you. You are not here to fix the outer world. You are here to awaken to the truth that the outer is the projection of the inner. Still your mind, not by force, but by faith. Let your awareness sink into the silence where all creation begins. You do not need to control anything. You need only to accept that consciousness is the only reality. What you believe deeply, what you feel to be true, will harden into fact. The path is not linear. It is not made with steps. It unfolds the moment you dwell in the end. So if you desire love, dwell in the state of being loved. If you desire abundance, live in the knowing that you already possess it. You are not becoming. You are remembering. There is no effort in this, only acceptance. Only the quiet courage to assume your wish fulfilled, even when everything around you screams otherwise. Trusting the universe is not a passive act. It is the most profound creative stance. You do not wait to see. You feel it real. And the universe, bound by law, reveals it. Let the noise of the world fall away. Let the questions cease. Dwell in the end. Feel the joy now. Let the feeling be the evidence. You don't need signs. You don't need proof. You are the proof. All that is required is the decision to remain faithful to your unseen reality, no matter what appearances say. Because appearances are shadows of a former belief, and the moment you change your state, the shadow begins to shift. The Zen you seek is not found through searching. It appears the moment you rest in the knowing that you already are. When you stop chasing and begin assuming, when you feel it is done and live from that feeling, then all things align. The universe does not delay. It responds, always, instantly. Fate is the key. The assumption is the act. The feeling is the path. The world follows. What you experience in the outer world is never random. It is not the result of luck or chance or external favor. It is the exact reflection of the state of consciousness you inhabit. The universe does not respond to the things you say you want, nor does it react to the effort you put forth to get them. It responds only to your inner state, the assumptions you accept as true, the beliefs you dwell in, and most of all, the feeling that dominates your inner atmosphere. There is a great misunderstanding in the world, and that is the belief that if we work hard enough, strive forcefully enough, or beg sincerely enough, we will earn the things we desire. But the truth is, desire alone is powerless without assumption. You can desire love, yet if you dwell in the feeling of being unloved, your world will confirm that. You can want abundance, but if you continue to feel lack, to react from scarcity, to think in terms of not enough, then lack must be your portion. Not because the universe is withholding from you, but because it can only reflect what you are conscious of being. You're always broadcasting a signal, not in your words, not even in your surface thoughts, but in your feeling tone, the vibration of your inner state. And life, like a mirror, cannot help but reflect it back to you. You may speak affirmations daily, you may visualize a better life, but unless your dominant feeling changes, nothing will shift. It is not about convincing the world. It is about embodying the truth you want to live in. That is why it is said, "To him that hath more shall be given." This is not a law of cruelty, but of consciousness. The one who feels he has, who assumes possession, love, health, peace, sees more of it. The one who feels he lacks will by law experience more lack. This law does not fail. It does not discriminate. It simply reflects what is impressed upon it. You are not required to change the world. You are not even required to change others. You are only required to change the state you occupy. If you see someone treating you with indifference or disrespect, and you react from that place, you continue to affirm the state of being mistreated. But if you can rise inwardly and assume the feeling of being valued, being seen, being loved, then without needing to correct the outer world, it will adjust to fit your new inner pattern. It is not the world that binds you, it is your inner agreement with limitation that binds you. The moment you cease to identify with it, it begins to dissolve. There is nothing outside of you that has creative power in your life. Others are not your source. Circumstances are not your cause. You are the operant power. The universe mirrors not what you ask, but what you are. Imagine for a moment you are an actor in a play. You are given a role, and you perform it convincingly. But what if you decide you no longer wish to play that role? You simply step into a new one. And in doing so, your lines change, your relationships change, your entire world on the stage adjusts to accommodate your new character. Life works the same way. When you step into a new inner identity, not temporarily, not half-heartedly, but with conviction, everything must shift to reflect the new self you have assumed. But many live backwards. They wait for the outer world to give them permission to feel better, to feel secure, to feel worthy. They want to see the money before they feel prosperous. They want the relationship before they feel loved. They want the healing before they feel whole. But this is like looking into a mirror and waiting for the reflection to smile first. It is an inversion of the truth. The mirror can only reflect what is already happening within. If you do not like what your life is showing you, do not fight the world. Do not try to rearrange shadows. Instead, ask yourself, what must I be believing to experience this? What must I be feeling on a deep level that continues to draw this into my experience? The answer is always within, and when you locate the assumption, the belief, the story, you are free to change it. You are free to move into a new state. This movement is not external, it is internal, and it begins with imagination. Imagination is not fantasy, it is the doorway to creation. When you imagine yourself differently and feel the reality of that new version of yourself, you begin to inhabit that state. And once you dwell in it long enough, once you claim it as your own, it must express itself in the outer world. So let go of chasing results. Let go of the desperation to make something happen. Instead, become deeply still and ask yourself, what do I want to feel? What would I be feeling now if my desire were already fulfilled? And then allow yourself to rest in that feeling, not just as a temporary escape, but as your home, as your identity. Because the truth is, you are never waiting for the universe is waiting for you. Waiting for you to claim what is already yours in consciousness. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the outer world has no choice. It must conform. It always has. It always will. And so you return to the simplest truth. The world is a mirror. It reflects not your words, not your effort, not your struggle, but your inner state. The feeling you live in, the assumptions you embody. Change the state, and the reflection changes. Trust this, live this, and watch the world respond. To live in the end is to occupy the feeling of your desire already fulfilled. It is not a technique to get something, it is a state of being, a profound shift in consciousness where you no longer seek, but rest in the knowing that it is done. This is the creative act. This is the secret of manifestation. You do not wait for the evidence to appear before you claim the reality. You claim the reality, and the evidence must appear. Most people live their lives as victims of their senses. They are ruled by what they see, what they hear, what they touch. They say, I will believe it when I see it, but in truth, they will only see it when they believe it. This is not philosophy. This is law. Everything you call reality now was once an unseen assumption, held so consistently that it had no choice but to manifest. When you live in the end, you are not trying to create something new. You are stepping into the version of yourself where that desire is already realized. You do not try to get rich. You feel yourself already abundant. You do not beg for love. You become the one who is already deeply loved. The state must be assumed first, internally. The outer world always follows. It may appear that your wish is far away. It may seem impossible. But that is only the voice of the current state you occupy. Every state has its own logic, its own reasoning, its own emotional tone. If you are in a state of lack, every thought will reinforce that lack. But if you dare to shift, to mentally and emotionally move into the end result, you leave behind the logic of limitation. You begin to think from a different place. You begin to feel from a different place. And that inner change is what transforms the outer world. Living in the end is not pretending. It is not acting. It is not daydreaming without conviction. It is the deliberate and faithful assumption that what you desire is already true. This is not fantasy. This is reality, because reality is shaped by your consciousness. And what you are conscious of being, you express. You are not bound by time. The future is not ahead of you. It is within you. And the moment you choose to feel the wish fulfilled, you collapse time. You bring that future into your now. The senses may deny it. Circumstances may contradict it. But if you remain faithful to that end, if you return to the feeling again and again, the bridge of events will unfold. People will be moved. Situations will be rearranged. The world will conspire to mirror your inner world. You do not have to figure out how. That is not your concern. The how belongs to the intelligence that governs all things. Your only task is to remain in the end, to dwell in the state where your desire is already real. And if you do, the means will come. They will seem natural, inevitable. But they are born from your assumption, not the other way around. Many abandon their desires because they cannot see the path, but that is the error. The path is not revealed to the one who waits. The path is revealed to the one who moves. And the movement is not external. It is inner. It is a shift in identity, a shift in awareness, a shift in feeling. Suppose you wish to be healed. Do not wait for the diagnosis to change before you feel health. Assume the feeling of vitality now. Walk, think, speak, and rest as one who is already whole. Suppose you long for reconciliation in a relationship. Do not dwell on the pain, the absence, the lack of resolution. Assume the feeling of harmony. Feel the joy of connection. See the other through eyes of love, and live from that place. This is not denial. This is not ignoring reality. This is creating reality. When you live in the end, you are not escaping life. You are shaping it. You are moving beyond reaction into creation. You are no longer waiting. You are being. It requires discipline, not force. Repetition, not struggle. When the old state rises, the doubts, the fears, the contradictions, you do not fight them. You gently return. You remember who you are. You remember what you've claimed. You feel it again. And in that return, you strengthen the new state. You deepen the assumption. And it begins to feel natural. Eventually, you will no longer need to affirm it constantly. The state will become your dwelling place. It will feel familiar, comfortable, like home. And from that place, you will act naturally. You will speak as one who already has. You will make choices that align with the fulfilled version of you. You will radiate the reality you have assumed, and the world will echo back your certainty. There is nothing to wait for. Everything exists now. All states are present. You do not create them. You select them. And selection happens through feeling. If you want a different life, enter a different state, not by wishing, not by forcing, but by assuming, by feeling the end and letting it saturate your inner world. This is the way. You are not hoping. You are not asking. You are not trying. You are living it. And because you live it inwardly, it must become visible outwardly. This is the unchanging law. Do not look to the world for signs. You are the sign. Your inner shift is the evidence that change is on the way. Feel it real. Dwell in the end. And the universe in its perfect obedience will reflect what you have dared to assume as true. There is no power outside of your own consciousness. The world, with all its events, people, circumstances, and appearances, is but a mirror reflecting the contents of your inner state. If you truly understood this, you would never again seek power outside yourself, nor blame any outer condition for your inner unrest, for everything begins and ends in consciousness. It is not the thing itself that has power, it is your awareness of being that gives it life, form, and meaning. When you accept the truth that all things proceed from your own consciousness, you stop reacting and begin creating. You stop fearing and begin choosing. You realize that your mind is not just a passive receiver of reality, but the very projector that casts the images upon the screen of space. If you feel small, the world confirms it. If you feel empowered, the world responds in kind. Not because the world changes randomly, but because your relationship to it transforms the moment you change your state of consciousness. Consciousness is not separate from what it creates. Your thoughts, your assumptions, your inner conversations, they are not idle. They are alive. They are creative acts. Every moment you are imagining something, and what you imagine with feeling becomes your experience. You may say, but I didn't choose this situation. Yet if you trace the feeling behind it, if you look honestly at what you've been dwelling upon, you will find the seed. The outer world is just the harvest of your inner attention. This is not to place blame. It is to give power. For if you are the cause, then you are never truly a victim. Even in the darkest circumstances, you hold the creative key. You may not have known it. You may have unconsciously repeated a pattern for years. But now, in this moment, you can awaken. You can choose to assume a new state. And once assumed, the world must reflect that state in due season. The outer world is not fixed. It is fluid. It bends to your inner image of self. Change that image, and the world reconfigures to match it. It cannot do otherwise. If you believe you are overlooked, unwanted, unworthy, you will find people and events that echo that belief. If you believe you are loved, valuable, and blessed, that too will be reflected back to you in ways you could never orchestrate on your own. For the law is always working, quietly, faithfully, without judgment. You do not need to manipulate outer conditions to change your life. You only need to occupy a new state of being, and that state is chosen through feeling. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, whatever that may be, you've planted the seed. The outer manifestation is just the echo, the after effect, the shadow. It is the reflection, not the source. This is why rituals, objects, and external affirmations only work when they move your consciousness. If you carry a lucky charm but feel unlucky, the charm has no power. If you chant words but your inner speech contradicts them, the words fall empty. It is not the thing, it is your inner movement that creates. Your world does not change because you hope it will. It changes because you assume a new reality. And that assumption becomes fact. Every time you judge something as being outside your control, you reinforce separation. You say, this person has power over me, this event ruined my peace, this condition keeps me stuck. But nothing outside you has power unless you give it power through attention and belief. Withdraw that attention, remove that belief, and the outer form dissolves. Not always instantly, but inevitably. This is not about denying what you see, it's about understanding what you see. The world does not show you what is true, it shows you what you have accepted as true. There is a great difference. If you accept lack as your reality, the world brings situations of lack. If you accept abundance, the world brings opportunities that match that inner tone. And you don't need to explain how it will happen. That is not your task. Your task is to feel the truth of your desire fulfilled, to saturate yourself in the reality you prefer, and to let the outer world conform. There is no such thing as a permanent condition. Every state is a temporary manifestation of what you've been dwelling on. Shift the dwelling place of your mind, and the condition must fade, change, or evolve to match the new vibration. Consciousness is always moving. It never stands still, and the world simply moves with it like a shadow following the shape that casts it. If you are sick, do not fight the sickness. Assume the feeling of being well. If you are lonely, do not resist the loneliness. Assume the feeling of being connected, loved, embraced. If you are broke, do not dwell on the absence of money. Assume the tone of freedom, security, generosity. You do not ignore facts, you transcend them. You do not argue with appearances, you leave them behind. Many will say, but I tried to change my thinking and nothing happened. That is because they did not persist in the assumption. A brief moment of belief cannot undo years of unconscious fear. But if you persist, if you choose again and again to return to the feeling of your desire fulfilled, it will become your new dwelling place. And once it feels natural, it must appear. The power is not in the words. The power is not in the effort. The power is in the shift of awareness. The moment you stop seeing yourself as a passive observer and begin to take responsibility for what you feel, think, and assume, you awaken to your creative role. And this awakening is not arrogance, it is freedom. For you realize that you are not at the mercy of fate. You are not a puppet in someone else's story. You are the author, you are the dreamer, and what you accept as true becomes your world. When you fully grasp that everything comes from within, you cease to chase outcomes. You no longer look to the world for permission to feel good, to feel worthy, to feel loved. You feel it now. You become it now. And the world, like a faithful servant, reflects your new command. It is not magic. It is not mystery. It is law. Consciousness creates reality. What you are conscious of being, you become. What you dwell upon, you manifest, and what you truly feel yourself to be will shape the conditions of your life. Not by force, not by effort, but by the silent and invisible operation of your own inner world. You are not separate from the universe. You are the very awareness through which the universe takes shape. And when you no longer give your power away to people, places, or things, when you no longer say, they did this to me, but rather, I have assumed this into my world, you rise above circumstance, you stop reacting and begin choosing. You stop pleading and begin claiming. And so the only question becomes, what am I assuming to be true about myself and my world? For that assumption, whether conscious or unconscious, is writing the script of your life. Change it, and your entire reality must rearrange itself to reflect the new story you have dared to believe. Nothing is missing. The world you seek, the peace you desire, the love you long for, and the abundance you crave, all of it is already within you. The outer world, with all its seeming separations and limitations, is merely a reflection of your state of consciousness. There is no delay in manifestation except the delay created by your own divided mind. What you call waiting is not the universe withholding, it is you not fully receiving. The moment you cease looking for completion outside yourself and recognize that everything already is, the illusion of separation dissolves. To feel lack is to assume separation. To seek with desperation is to assume you do not have. But the great secret is this: you are not becoming, you already are. You do not need to strive toward a future version of yourself to be whole. You only need to awaken to the truth that you have always been whole. The more you chase, the more you affirm that the thing you desire is distant, the more you relax into the feeling that it is already yours, the more the world rearranges itself to reflect that inner knowing. Imagination is the gateway. If you can imagine having the thing you desire and feel its reality inwardly, you have it. It exists now. Not in some distant future, but in the timeless realm of consciousness. And consciousness is the only reality. The outer is a delayed reflection, but the inner is immediate. Feel now as you would feel if your desire were already fulfilled. That is the creative act. Not effort, not toil, not struggle, but feeling. The world was never designed to fulfill you, it was designed to reflect you. As long as you seek fulfillment in outer objects, people, or achievements, you will chase shadows. But once you recognize that all things flow from within, you reclaim your power. You no longer run after things. You magnetize them by your being. When you embody love, love appears. When you embody abundance, abundance flows. You no longer ask, when will it come? Because you live as though it already has. You must move from wanting to being. Wanting implies absence. Being implies possession. When you say, I want, you are saying, I do not have. And the universe, being a mirror, reflects your lack back to you. But when you say, I am, you declare identity, and identity shapes reality. The law does not respond to words, it responds to vibration. And the highest vibration is the feeling of completion. That deep, calm knowing that nothing is missing, that all is well, that you are the embodiment of your desire. Do not wait for signs to believe. Believe and the signs will follow. Do not wait for proof to feel it real. Feel it real and the proof will appear. Faith is not blind. It is inner certainty that defies the outer evidence. And the moment you rest in that certainty, the world bows to meet you. Your conviction becomes the law by which things unfold. Your assumption becomes the seed from which reality grows. You are not here to beg life for crumbs. You are life. You are the one through whom all things are made. The idea that you must earn, achieve, or suffer to be worthy is a lie born of separation. You are worthy because you are. There is no other requirement. The moment you accept this, you stop striving and start allowing. You stop pleading and start receiving. You stop doubting and start knowing. The secret lies in your inner speech. What are you telling yourself all day long? That you're not ready? That it's too hard? That something must change before you can be happy? These are spells you cast upon yourself. And so you live under their influence until you break them by assuming a new truth. Begin speaking to yourself as the person you wish to be, and the outer world will echo your new identity, not because you forced it, but because you assumed it. Your imagination is the workshop of God. It is the place where all things are made new, but you must live from it, not just think about it. You must walk in the assumption that what you imagine is real. That is the bridge. That is the passage from one state of being to another. The world responds not to what you want, but to what you are conscious of being. So ask yourself, not what do I want, but what am I? Are you abundant or are you lack? Are you love or are you longing? Are you peace or are you anxiety? You will know not by your words, but by your inner feeling. And that feeling, sustained, becomes your experience. The world is faithful. It never betrays your assumption. If you wish to change your world, do not fight the outer conditions. Change your inner state. Assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled and let the outer take care of itself. You are not missing anything. You are only imagining that you are. The illusion of separation is strong, but only because you've been taught to believe in it. You've been taught to look outside to seek approval, to chase success, to earn love, but all of it is within you. The moment you return to yourself, to the quiet knowing that you already are what you seek, life becomes effortless. The struggle ends. The fear fades. And peace arises, not as something you gained, but as something you always had. This is not passive. It is the most active stance you can take. It is the refusal to be moved by appearances. It is the commitment to live from a higher vision, even when the world gives you every reason to doubt. It is the daily discipline of feeling your wish fulfilled, of speaking only what aligns with your desired state, and of trusting that the unseen is more real than what is seen. It is mastery over your own mind. You do not need to convince the world. You only need to convince yourself. For the world will believe what you believe about you. The universe is not testing you. It is echoing you. And once you accept this, your journey becomes one of remembering, not becoming. You are not evolving into something new. You are awakening to what has always been. And so rest in the feeling that it is done. Act from the place of having, not hoping. Speak as one who already is, not one who is trying to be. Let your inner world become so rich, so real, so vivid, that the outer must bow before it. This is not delusion, it is creation. This is not pretending, it is claiming. For what you assume to be true, and persist in assuming, will harden into fact. There is nothing missing. You are the center from which your world flows. Return to that center, dwell in that center, and the life you once chased will quietly unfold before you, because it was always within you. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the fullness of awareness. When the outer world grows loud and chaotic, when the noise of worry, deadlines, and expectations surrounds you, the greatest power you hold is the ability to become still. This stillness is not passive, nor is it silence born of weakness. It is the womb of creation itself. Everything that manifests in form begins in the invisible, in the silent dimension of consciousness. Dominion. To be still is to return to that origin, to that sacred space where all things are conceived. You are not designed to live in constant reaction to the external. That is not power, that is bondage. Reaction is a habit of the unawakened mind, a mind that believes life is happening to it rather than through it. But in stillness, you rise above the compulsion to react and you begin to choose. And in your choosing, you create. Every time you pause instead of panic, breathe instead of break, and return to awareness instead of rushing forward, you step into alignment with the creative source that made all things. The greatest changes do not happen when you're doing more. They happen when you become more. In the stillness, you remember your true nature, not the roles you play, not the fears you entertain, not the stories you've been told. In that still place, there is no fear, no competition, no pressure to prove. There is only presence, and in presence there is power. The power to choose a new thought, the power to imagine a new state, the power to enter the feeling of the wish fulfilled without needing the outer evidence. You must not wait for the world to calm before you claim peace. That is a lie. The world calms as a result of your peace, not the other way around. All things respond to your state of being. If you carry agitation within, life will give you reasons to be agitated. If you carry calm certainty, life will mirror that back to you. So do not look outward for signs that it's safe to relax. Go inward and relax anyway. And then watch the world respond. Stillness is not emptiness, it is fullness in disguise. In the still moment between one thought and the next, you glimpse the eternal. In the quiet space where you stop seeking, you begin receiving. Not because you earned it, but because you stopped resisting it. All your desires are already created, they are already done. But they can only enter your experience through the gate of allowance. And allowance is born in stillness. To dwell in the noise of the mind is to remain a prisoner of the past. The mind replays, rehearses, analyzes, it loops. But the spirit lives now. In the eternal now, there are no problems to solve, no battles to win, no future to fear. There is only presence. And from presence, all things become possible. This is why stillness is so powerful. It dissolves resistance. And when resistance dissolves, flow returns. Your desires are not delayed. They are denied only by your divided attention. One part of you says yes, the other says no. One part hopes, the other doubts. One part imagines the dream, the other clings to the past. But in stillness, the conflict ceases. You drop the stories. You return to the simplicity of being. And being is the fertile ground from which miracles grow. When you feel overwhelmed, do not do more. Go deeper, go within, sit with yourself. Listen not to the noise of fear, but to the quiet wisdom beneath it. Let your breath anchor you. Let your awareness expand. Let the chatter of the world fade like an old radio playing in the background. You are not that noise. You are not that fear. You are the awareness that observes it all. You are the silence in which it all arises. And from that silence, you begin again. Not by effort, but by assumption. You do not need to fix everything out there. You only need to assume the feeling that it is already done. And you cannot feel that if you're frantically grasping. You feel it by becoming still and resting in the end. You feel it by relaxing your grip and trusting that the universe knows exactly how to deliver what you've already accepted. Stillness is faith in action. It is choosing to believe without evidence. It is walking calmly through the storm because you know the storm is not the truth. It is only a shadow passing across the screen of your awareness. Do not worship the shadow. Do not curse the wind. Simply remain still. Feel the truth within you, the truth that you are safe, that you are held, that all things are unfolding in perfect harmony, not because of what you see, but because of who you are. When you still the mind, the heart begins to speak. And the heart speaks in feelings, not logic. It speaks in knowing, not in fear. It tells you not what is likely, but what is true. The mind may argue, but the heart always knows. And it is in stillness that you hear its whisper. It is in stillness that you reconnect with your original blueprint, the perfect pattern that already includes all your desires. You must learn to trust what arises in stillness more than what shouts at you from the world. The world may say, you're behind, you're late, you're lacking. But the still voice says you're exactly where you need to be. The world may demand answers, deadlines, plans, but the still voice reminds you that clarity comes not by force, but by surrender. And in that surrender, you do not become passive, you become powerful. Stillness does not mean the absence of activity. It means the absence of inner conflict. You may move, but you do so with grace. You may act, but you do so with clarity. There is no rush, no pressure, no need to prove, because you are no longer driven by fear. You are led by vision, and vision is born in the quiet places. Take time each day to return to stillness, not to escape the world, but to realign with the truth behind it. Let the world rage if it must. Let others hurry if they choose. You know a deeper rhythm. You move with the beat of your own knowing. And from that place, all things are added unto you, not by demand, but by design. The most powerful moment is the one where you stop chasing, stop doubting, stop resisting, and simply be. Not as someone who is trying to create, but as someone who knows it is already done. That is the stillness that changes everything. And in that stillness, you remember you are the center, the source, the creator. You do not need to make it happen. You only need to let it be.